Hi, my name is Nana, and I'm the hostess of this podcast, Mãos de Vera, podcast about knitting, sewing, and crochet. Um, so we'll be speaking about my projects and um, knitting projects and sewing projects mainly. And I would like to show you my first finished project for today. I have only completed this project since the beginning of the year. No, I've completed one, but it's, I believe I've already showed you on the last episode. So, my finished project is this cardigan. It's called Monteiro. It's a design by a Portuguese designer. It's a beautiful cardigan. I would like to show you. Has this detail on the sleeve, and it has rounded edges that I love. It's what I loved most about this project. I haven't yet washed it. This is a design by Maria Martins. She's a Portuguese designer, and I fell in love with this project as soon as I saw it. I had planned to knit it a while ago, and this year it was when I finally decided that it was time to knit it, because me and a group of knitters, of Portuguese knitters, decided to knit it together. We had a little knit along, and we really went for it. And I couldn't be any happier than I am. I haven't even washed it because it's really so comfortable and cozy, and I just started to wear it and keep myself warm, and sorry, and haven't had a chance to wash it and block it properly as it should. But I'm really happy. I think it turned out a little bit bigger than I anticipated. Sorry. Um, I um, I knit the large size, and the only thing I'm not 100% happy with are the length of the sleeves. I got carried away, and it's a complete Knitflix project. You can knit it and watch some series on TV, and I was really it's such a mindless knit that I got carried away, and when I noticed the sleeves were a little bit bigger than I wanted to, but that's fine, because the project is intended for the ribbing to be folded back. I don't particularly like it because it's too much fabric here on my wrist, but I don't think I will be bothered enough to want to rip it back and shorten the sleeves. So it has a raglan construction. It has this little lace detail on the sleeves, and this ribbing, this button band ribbing, is it mainly consists that once we finish the body, we pick up the stitches um, around the neckline. I'm having trouble because the camera isn't mirrored, and I'm having a little bit of trouble getting this right. I'm sorry for that. So we pick up the sleeves along the edge, and then we basically do the ribbing. I decided to do a twisted rib. Some of the other fellow knitters decided to do a garter tab, and but I really I don't really appreciate garter that much. I like a good twisted rib, and so and it took me ages. Really, it took me ages. I I can almost assure you that I've spent at least 24 hours all combined uh, just to make this ribbing. And and I can tell you this because I was with my kids at a badminton tournament for a whole weekend, and I've started knitting on Saturday around 2 p.m. and I stopped knitting around 8 p.m. and then I knit for another 3 hours on the next morning, on Sunday morning, and for a whole complete hour on the bus back home. So no, uh, well, 6 and 3, that makes 9 and 10. Yeah, 12 to 14 hours, because I know for a fact that it took me an hour and a half to bind off. So it was brutal. I bounded off on the journey, on the bus journey back home, and I couldn't wait to take it off my needles. This band, this this ribbing, and it took me about a month and a half to finish start to finish the project. I started it on January the 20th, and I finished it on the 6th of March. So basically, it took me about a month and a half to knit. And I was really eager to finish it, not only because I wanted to wear it, but because I was planning on casting on other projects that I ended up not casting at all, which is a fun thing. Because for some reason I decided that I wanted to knit older projects. I have many projects on my needles that have been on my needles for more than a year or two, and the one that I'm about to show you next is a project that I believe I've cast on 2018, I believe. So it's almost 5 years on the needles, and I want to just take it off the needles. One last thing about this project. So I used 4.5 millimeter needle. I used my Knit Pro Symphony interchangeable needles, and I used practically 8 balls of drop soft tweed on the color spinach pie green, which is a color that I love. I'm really sorry because I'm not sure if I put up the lights, if you'll be able to get a better look. Well, it's a little bit better, but not. It doesn't accurately portray the color. It's an olive green that I love, and it's really, really, really warm and cozy, and it makes for this tweedy fabric that I really love. It is warm without being like an oven, which is great for where I live in the south of Portugal, where the temperatures have been very springy, around 20 degrees, 25 last week. And so it's nice for the end of the day when it gets a little bit, it chills a little bit, and it's really warm and cozy to wear this at home, especially at home. I've taken it to work too, but I really like to use it around the house because I feel really comfortable and cozy. So for my next project, I'm trying to rush this thing. I don't know. I'm sorry if it feels like I'm in a hurry, but I don't have much light, and well, let's just get on with it. I have this project. It's an old project, like I've told you. I have it on this project bag. It's funny enough, the person who sewed it, this project bag, which is a beautiful bag, is the same person that designed this cardigan. So her name is Maria Martins, and she, besides being a very talented knitwear designer, although she doesn't have that many knitting projects designs, but I believe she will. In the future, she also sews up these bags, these project bags that are really great. It has this handle, very sturdy handle. It has two pockets inside, one bigger than the other for notions and things. She always sends us this small pouch, and she usually sends us some notions inside, a ruler, and a needle gauge, and she makes these beautiful markers that she sent me as an extra. Oh, let me see if I can show you. The light isn't the best, so sorry. It's not focusing. Sorry. And there's also there's also a tapestry needle and a row counter and some needle stoppers. Let's see if I can find them. And the ones that I like best, needle stoppers, like this. I'm not a big fan of needle stoppers. I bought a few when I started knitting, and they always fell off, so I'm not really a big fan of it. These markers I would love to, for the camera to focus so you could see how beautiful they are. Let me see if I can. Yeah, here you go. They're ceramic beads and they are just beautiful. They have flowers, and this one has a little yeah, it's flowers. I believe she has one that has a swallow, but I believe I'm already using it. So, and inside this beautiful project bag that I've bought myself at the beginning of this year, it was a tragedy that I didn't have one of these project bags on my stash before, but well, now it's solved. And the project that I would like to show you is my Timeless Henley. It's a project by, oh, what's happening? Hello? My camera decided to, oh, okay, there you go. So, So it's my timeless Henley. It's also in green shade, in a green color. It's a sweater designed by Giorgi Locatelli, one of my favorite knitwear designers, because I like her aesthetics and how most of her projects are seamless and very nice fitting, because I like the logic behind her projects. Very simple, very beautiful and elegant as a result. But this one is quite a challenge, to say the least, because it has a very funny construction. I really like the construction, but it's a handful when it comes to following instructions, and I keep coming back and forth between the pages of the instructions, and it's not a very. This one is definitely not a Netflix project, so this is my timeless Hanley. When I finally picked it up, um, I had done this. It has this ribbing on the back and on the fronts, and it's done. It has, and then it starts the lace part, because the body of the sweater is lace, and you stop at the first repeat of the lace, and then you just put the stitches on hold, and then you pick up at the shoulder, and you do a bit of ribbing and increases and shaping for the armhole, and then you stop at one repeat of the lace. You also start to make the holes for the button band, but for the buttonholes, and then you stop at the first repeat of the lace, and then you go to the next shoulder and repeat the process, and until you have also one repeat of the lace. By then, you join this front and cast on the stitches for the armhole, for the underarm, and then you pick up, you get the stitches that you had left on hold, and you knit across until you come, and then you do the same thing for the underarm stitches, and then you come to the other front. I'm still knitting right side and wrong side, back and forth, because I am a few rows from my fifth buttonhole. When I finish my fifth buttonhole, I will then join the work up here at the front. So let me see if I can show you. And then you start knitting. It's all lace, and it's all circular knitting. I think that it will be easier by then when I'm knitting in the round. But it's not a very mindless project. It requires attention and following very closely the instructions. So I made the bad decision of going on a mini holidays, on an extended weekend holiday with my husband and my two kids, my two boys, and I thought that this was a good project to bring along with me. And so, sadly, I didn't knit much, as you can probably figure out, right? I'm using 3mm needles. These ones are my Symphony Bamboo interchangeable needles. Um, and the yarn, I bought it at Rosa Pomar Retrosaria. It's a Portuguese shop for. It has its own yarn yarn products. This one is also retrosaria, but it's retrosaria presents, and it's a soft Donegal yarn. I don't know if you can see there. No, hardly. And it's this also some sort of tweedy green. It's a very rustic yarn, but it's very, very pleasant to knit with, and some of my fellow knitters who have used it before tell me that it gets even softer after it's washed. Sorry. I have to drink some water because my throat, it dries up and I start to cough heavily. It's some allergic reaction I get. Just gonna pause it here for a second. Speaking of knitting, I won't be showing you anything else today because what else I've been knitting on is a new design that will be published in the upcoming months, probably early June. But more about that later on future episodes. And right now, concerning my designs, I have an ongoing test knit for a summer top, and it's been a roller coaster because it was really hard to write down the instructions and get it perfect as I wanted it to. I was mostly concerned about the sizing and the grading of everything. So it was everything okay, and but I got these magnificent testers that have been testing it for me, and the feedback has been really, really useful, very assertive, very lots of constructive critiques, really great suggestions. Sorry, my throat is killing me. And I will be publishing it further on. There's been a date set for it, but more about that on future episodes. It's been a real pleasure to have these people test knit for me. They like knitting machines. They are so fast at knitting it, and it took me so long to knit my own project, my own design, and I get really, really thrilled and emotional watching a project that I designed in my head first and then with my needles to just show up on someone else's needles. It's an amazing feeling. It's something it's quite undescribable, but it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling, really. I have a lot of other designs planned along the year till the end of the year. I will be designing at least a twin set from July on, and I have a few other designs coming up on my needles. Hopefully will be published some this year, some next year. So a lot of work. It was very useful for me to I took an online course on grading, on learning how to grade my knitwear, and another one in tech editing. It was really educational and useful, and I wouldn't have been able to write down the instructions for this design if I hadn't taken those two courses. I will be finishing um, a course in tech editing that is even more comprehensive. I hope to finish it soon, and I hope to be able to become a tech editor for knitwear designers real soon. So, if you're a designer and you want editing, probably you can contact me real soon in that area. The other project that I would like to talk to you about today is a sewing project. This is a very special project for me. It was quite a surprise, but not so much. I knew that I was going to take part in it, but when I first heard about it, I I was completely unaware of how big my part would be in it. To explain what I'm about to show you, at the beginning of the school year, we always have these meetings with the teachers, and my youngest son, he's 8 years old, he's in third grade. His third grade teacher at the school year opening meeting spoke about all the projects that they were going to develop during the school year, and she mentioned one that was planned be to occur on May 15th. It's Family Day here in Portugal, because they decided a few years back not to celebrate Father's Day and Mother's Day, because for some kids who don't have a mother or don't have a father, it's always complicated and uncomfortable. And so they didn't want to distress kids who were in that circumstance. So they decided, even prior to the pandemic year, to 2020, to celebrate Family Day instead, because you have grandparents and uncles and cousins and brothers and whatever. And so this year, at the beginning of the school year, they were planning to celebrate this Family Day with a big picnic on a beautiful site near school and my house. It's on the riverside, and it has a watermill, an old watermill. It's probably 100 years old or something. And it has an old traditional bakery. It has this water dam where you can bathe in the summer. And it was all rebuilt and reorganized a few years ago, probably a decade ago. And so they put up these picnic tables for families, and it's usually very sought after by families on weekends to be outdoors, and kids can play around. It has a playground, and it has this beautiful landscape, and you can take long walks in the middle of nature. And so they plan on making the picnic on this spot, and for that they planned on making a big patchwork picnic cloth to for the kids to sit down and take the snacks and the meal that they are going to provide for that day. So at the beginning of the school year, she told me she knows that I sew and knit, and she was talking about this project, and she pointed at me and said, "Well, I will hope that you can help me out with this because you sew and I don't." And but at the time when she told me that, of course, I said yes. I made myself available for it, and she told me when she told me about it, in my mind, what I heard was that I was going to sew the squares, the fabric squares, for a picnic cloth, or towel, if you want to call it that, for my son's classroom, which has about 25, 26 kids. So in my mind, sorry, what I thought was that I was going to sew up at best 30 fabric squares. The thing was that time went by, and came February, and I asked about it because I have other things going on in my life, and I wanted to plan things and schedule things and organize it in a way that I wouldn't have to be rushing it to completion. So I asked about it, and she said, "Well, don't worry, I'm going to start asking people for the fabric squares. I haven't yet decided the measurements, but every bit of information will be sent out this week." And so she did. The thing was, when my son came home with a, a loaded bag of fabric squares, and it reality hit, and I am supposed to sew up the fabric squares for not my son's classroom but five classrooms, which means it's the whole kids in school who attend school, and we're talking about five classrooms that have about 25 to 26 kids each. So I was I was really dumbfounded, and but also it kind of made me excited about it, um, and I will be showing you the fabric squares that I've sewn up so far, and the ones that I have to sew up in the next few days, because this is such a huge undertaking, and but it's been also very fun because I hadn't sat in my sewing machine in about 6 months at least. And when I do sit down to use it, it's not to sew my own clothes as I would wish, but to mend things and things like that. So it's and to hem curtains and things like similar things. So I have already started to sew it up, and well, it's been a challenge. Then I asked what the measurement of the towel wa- was meant to be, and she told me that she wanted 1.5 meter wide and 3 meters high. So that's that's huge. And so what I decided to do in order to make this process go faster and more efficiently is to combine the squares one in sets of two, and like this. So I join them together, and I feed the machine on and on and on, not breaking the thread. Um, and then I will start to sew these also on using the same process, because if not, I won't get it done by the 15th of May, and I don't want to disappoint all five classrooms of 25 to 20 to 27 kids who are expecting to have a huge picnic towel. But these are all the ones that I've already sewed. So this, uh, it's 67 sets of two fabric squares, which means there's 134 squares of fabric in here. The funny thing is, since each kid brought a fabric square, I have fabrics that range from flannels to cotton to jersey to, I don't know, to I have something that we call here in Portugal. It's these African motifs. We call it capulana. And I have chintz and upholstery fabric and curtain fabric. There's and velvet and you name it. Um, and it's really 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 fun to. And so I decided to combine things, trying to make this the biggest mosaic I can, to so I don't have all the blues and all the yellows and reds and all pulling on one side. So I tried to mix it up as best as I could. And when I have all the fabric squares sewn together two by two, um, I will start to put them on the floor and to mix it up and see how they combine better. I have these ones also with little houses, and this one little checkered. I have jeans, bits of jeans, and it's you have so many colors and so many um well, that's what I've already made, and this is all that I have to make in the next few days. Um, there's this one that I love. It has these little squirrels, and you have flowers, and you have these ones were taken from kitchen cloths. There's one here really nice. It's very very customary here in Portugal. It's inspired by it's called boyfriend's handkerchiefs that usually has these it's embroidered, and it has these birds and these poems, love poems. Usually they have some grammatical errors and things like that, which makes them more quaint and more characteristic from our country. It's very traditional in the north of Portugal. So these embroidered designs, and there's so many colors here. Well, here you have one that is here. You can see the word heart written. It's meant to be written with an O and not a U, and so it's very traditional from these embroidered boyfriend lovers handkerchiefs. So this is my project for the upcoming days, and this is the Galo de Barcelos. It's also a very traditional figure here in Portugal, and um, and lots of fabric squares to sew up and build this picnic towel for a primary school where my kids attends. So, and the last thing I wanted to talk to you about today is a book that arrived here. It's a publication, and it has to do with a knitting club that I subscribed last year, and I subscribed the digital and the physical publication version, and it's the all over. It's Kate Davis Knitting Club, and I'm so happy with it. Uh, I had never subscribed to a knitting club by Kate Davis. I've admired her designs for a very long time. I have not yet, which is very tragic. I have not yet knit any of her patterns, but I plan on doing so. And one of the things that I want to knit is this cardigan, this colorwork cardigan. I subscribed to this club because it was all about color work, and I wanted to know more about color work, and it's been really useful and enlightening, and it has so many information, has so much information, important information about color work and how to combine color, and the projects are just gorgeous. I mean, look at this sweater, and there's one here that I will be knitting for sure. The first cardigan I show you, and this one. This sweater is definitely on my plans for probably 2025 because until then I have so much thing to knit up. And so I'm really happy with this publication. It's the end result of this knitting club, which is the All Over Knitting Club. It also has a cover for a water bottle. I don't really like water bottles. I think they're very dangerous. But you can use the colorwork pattern and replicate it in another piece. So I think that's really fun. And also the hats. I mean, look at this one. It's beautiful, beautiful. And I also got this other book, which I bought it because I really felt the need. And it's the Beginner's Guide to Writing Knitting Patterns by Kate Adderley. I bought it because, well, if I plan on publishing my knitwear designs, I need to know how to best write the instructions and better my patterns. So I just bought it out of necessity. So it wasn't it wasn't exactly a selfish buy. It was a useful buy. So, and lastly, I would like to talk to you about this personal project that I'm that I've been developing or going along with, and it has to do with this book. It's called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I first heard about it in a Portuguese entrepreneurship podcast. It's an audio podcast. It's called Anita no Trabalho. Of course, we speak in Portuguese, sadly, for those who don't understand it. But it's a very informative podcast about entrepreneurship, and especially female entrepreneurship. It's more focused on female entrepreneurship, and they decided to create a book club that started this year, and the first book is this one. So some people say that this is a self-help book, but it's not. Well, at least I don't see it that way. Um, I'm starting on chapter 3 right now, but I've began the program 3 weeks ago, so I've been kind of delayed on fulfilling all the tasks and exercises that are in this in that are included in each week, because for me it's a program. It's a 12-week program to release your inner creative, because according to Julia Cameron, everyone has an inner creative. There is no such thing as someone who isn't creative. Um, they can have their inner creative completely blocked or dormant, but it's there. So, and this book is aimed at releasing that inner creative out in the wild, and it has these lists of tasks and exercises that you should follow in order to do so, in order to find your creative self when you get to the 12-week end of the program. It has these two exercises that are constant throughout the 12-week program, which is the morning pages. You're supposed to write every day, every morning when you wake up, 3 pages, long handwriting, writing by hand, um, just anything. So, and also you're supposed to have each week at least an artist's date with yourself. So it's planned on it planned the purpose is for you to date yourself and put yourself in a situation that isn't ordinary in your life, something that is out of the ordinary of your daily routine. It doesn't have to be artistic per se, just something that shifts completely from your daily life. And it's and the purpose is for you to be present and mindful and intentional of where you are and your surroundings. And it has been really, really fun for me. I've already decided what I'm going to do for every artist's date. The morning pages meant that I have to wake up 45 minutes earlier in order to complete the exercise. For me, at first, it was hard because I'm not a morning person. I'm a sleepyhead, and I like to sleep until the clock allows me. But after the third day, it started to be completely natural. So it wasn't so hard. And the thing I realized by starting to write these morning pages was that I missed handwriting, writing by hand, because I've had journals and diaries since I was 8, and I've always used writing as an escape and as a way to organize my thoughts and clarify my ideas. And so it was an habit. It was a habit that I had somewhat lost in the last few years with the kids and everything. And return to it was really, really nice. And the first 2 or 3 days, it was supposed to be 3 pages, but I had to hit the brakes and stop right there, because for me, I would write 5 or 6 pages if I was allowed to. And it has been really fun. I haven't had this. Uh, it, she talks about people who had breakthroughs doing these exercises. I haven't had a breakthrough yet. I'm not sure if I will, but it has been fun. It has been really fun to follow on this program, and let's see where it leads me. Well, I guess it's all for today that I have to tell you about, and I hope to see you really soon for me to talk to you about my upcoming projects. Bye.